In professional environments, I always felt like the odd one out, just for simply being myself.
I was always too urban, my name Domingo was too ethnic, and my dialect was too intimidating.
I was too urban, my hair too ethnic, my dialect too intimidating.
But a conversation with a wise soul a few months back helped me realize my place in this world.
I'm here because of who I am, not in spite of it. And I'm not the only one.
This network represents the tribe of urban professionals who make our presence known and who do it for more than just ourselves.
We do it for our parents and our kids. I now have pride in being a young urban professional of color. I never knew it was possible to be both, but here we all are, proving them wrong once again.
Shout out to everybody in this network for keeping the culture going and growing.
Welcome to Tribe Called Up. We're your hosts. Oh,
Conversational lunch.
Mr. Domingo. And today,
lovely Lisa.
Hi.
We're going to be talking to Lisa about where she comes from and where she plans on going in the future.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Lisa.
Yeah, my name is Lisa. I'm from Brooklyn. I grew up in Bushwick. I am a single mother, 28 years old. And yeah, I currently live in Williamsburg in the projects, and I've been out here, for 7 years. Yes.
So tell our viewers a little bit about Bushwick, because a lot of people think Bushwick is a really haughty-tawdy, artsy, expensive, and great place to be, but it was a lot different when you were there.
Yeah, it's a great place to be for the new people that are coming in, because right now the rent is extremely high, and the people from the neighborhood cannot afford to actually keep their apartments or to afford the rent.
Okay.
And due to gentrification, Bushwick became this artsy place, and a place where only a certain group of people can afford. And I would say primarily white people. But yes, Bushwick is not how it was before. Back in the day, you were able to find an apartment with 3 bedrooms, 700, 800, 1,000 now. A studio is 2,000. So that's the Bushwick that is today. Yeah.
it doesn't cater to this no more.
Yeah, I mean, we're from Bushwick also, so we know. Yeah.
So now, the neighborhood, everyone from the neighborhood is moving out of their neighborhood. They're going to other states where 60,000 people are homeless right now. A majority of the people are just ending up in homeless shelters, and this is what's happening. Yeah.
Is that kind of why you moved to Williamsburg?
Well, I moved to Williamsburg because I was accepted in public housing, and I got an apartment, and it's something that I can afford. I cannot.
So it kind of came in the nick of time.
Yes, it did. I know a lot of people now that are trying to get into housing, and they can't. Housing isn't available anymore for people. What they're doing is affordable housing, where they're building these buildings, and there's apartments, and you have to go through a lottery. A lot of people don't get that, and sometimes they even check credits, even though it's the government
towards people who may not have credit, right?
Exactly, and it's not working out for anybody. But I'm blessed to have this apartment, and I can say I have to hold on to it until I get myself a house or something. Because
it's funny because I actually got called back for one of the affordable housing.
Yeah.
And I got disqualified because from the time that I filled out the application, I had got a $200 raise. Yep. But it's salary. So $200 over a year
I got disqualified for having savings. They counted it as more income. So yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's really unfair. It's all right, just what is it they want to do with us? It's we cannot live anywhere. Where are we going? They don't care.
And exactly who is this housing affordable for?
Yeah, right.
Right, exactly. So that's what I meant by they're not catering to us anymore.
No, they're not. Have they ever? No, but
But before, we kind of had a little more leeway to say, one person could give 1 month's rent, and they just one word, I guess.
Right.
People were given opportunities.
And it was families, and it was a community. So it was maybe somebody's uncle owned the building, and then they know you from the neighborhood. But now it's getting bought up, and they're kicking you out, and they want to be able to charge the $4,000 with the 6,000 roommates. They rather that.
Right. It's getting bought up by people that can by a certain group of people that can afford to buy out people when they don't want certain they don't want black people
talk
living
to us
in
about
their
that.
apartments.
I know that you dealt with real estate, right? So you
Yes.
kind of have the inside scoop on this. So tell us a little bit about how that went.
I used to work at a real estate management place, and they basically manage different buildings, and we rent them out. And I was an agent, and what I seen there was pretty sad. It's like, you know, they check credit. Basically, you have to have 680 credit or above. And there were a lot of people with color that used to qualify. They had all the qualifications, and because the landlord didn't like or thought that the person wasn't a good person, and it was
So basically,
due to
just
their
because
color.
they're race.
Yes. You know, they'll get denied, and I couldn't support that. Like, I couldn't work at a place where I see my people are not being helped, and you know, they would find good reasons to deny these people.
And then you feel
would
like
see-
you actually have a hand in doing that. Like, you're a part of telling your people no.
right, and I actually felt like I needed to get away from that. Like,
Right.
you know, I want to help my people. You would see white people with bad credit getting approved, and I was just like, why? And they will give you excuse. Oh, well, this landlord accepted what? Well, why doesn't this landlord accept this file with this person
That has the proper credentials.
right, and is, you know, black or with color? And
Wow, that's really
majority of the time, yeah, they get denied, and it's like, wow.
Do you find yourself doing things, especially now living in Williamsburg, because that neighborhood changed a good like 15 years before
Yes.
Bushwick did? Do you find yourself trying to fit in with the crowd? How do you make your presence known? How do you be yourself and do that comfortably?
Well, my presence is known anywhere. You know, some people feel intimidated going in different places. I don't. It's like, this is my neighborhood. Anywhere I step in Brooklyn or in New York, period, this state was made up of, you know, immigrants and people who suffer, slaves, minorities. And, you know, I step in every place, you know, with courage and proud. I visit a lot of restaurants in Williamsburg. I love, you know, the restaurants. I find that they're, you know, I find myself comfortable everywhere. But, you know, that's about it. I'm not
But
gonna.
that's a good thing.
Right.
What do you say to people who don't? Like, if you had a friend and you was like, oh, this is good restaurant I saw on Groupon, we gotta go. And they was like, oh, that
it's
crowd
not
is
for
crazy.
me.
Yeah, no. What you gonna tell them?
I'll tell them, well, stop the ignorance.
Well, okay.
I mean, I don't know.
Has it ever happened to you?
It hasn't, because who doesn't want to go out to eat? You know, to restaurants. If I buy you a Groupon, you're not gonna say no.
So what
So
about
to
in
you,
the
you're saying
workplace?
it doesn't really matter, basically.
Does
It's
that
not really a
happen
big
in the
deal.
workplace? Have you ever felt uncomfortable in the workplace because you were different or isolated, or has your friends ever felt like they stifled themselves because they were afraid of not fitting in a certain type of work environment?
In the workplace, this happens everywhere. In the workplace, you know, I would struggle with having, like, when I used to work for AT&T, we used to deny certain people that used to come in because of the way they were dressed, and it used to make me feel uncomfortable because I dress that way. Like, you
Right.
know, you would see a girl with hoop earrings, and, you know, people would label her as ghetto.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, when I'm off work, I dress like that and I talk like that too. And, you know, I don't feel as if I'm ghetto. And, you know, my manager would be like, no, don't give them this, it's fraud. And
Wow.
yeah, I go through this. I've been going through this even since school. I remember this Egyptian girl told me, oh, nobody's gonna play with you because you're black. And I'm like, oh my God, I was confused. Am I black? I'm like, no, I'm Spanish. Like,
Egyptian is African.
Thank you. And even at the time, I don't know that Egypt is in Africa. When
Because they
I
don't want
was in
you to know
kindergarten.
that.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's light skinned, she's white, I'm black.
Wow.
I always felt like I had to please people because I'm dark skinned. Like, oh, okay, I'm putting fear in people's heart and stuff.
So you felt like you had to be extra nice or extra good or extra...
Yes.
So that they won't be scared or intimidated
and
or
people
like
would
you.
tell me, people would tell me, oh my God, I thought you were mean. And I'm like, I know everybody tells me that I look mean, but what makes me look mean? Is it that you know, I have color? But yeah, that's basically it, yeah.
So now you're going to school full time.
Yes.
Tell us about that. What made you decide that, and what are your dreams moving forward with that?
I found myself wasting a lot of time working at AT&T. I got laid off for, whatever reason, and you know that when you don't have a career or when you're working at a retail store, they can just let you go at any moment, and you're left with just so many years wasted because you invested so much in that company, but you didn't invest in yourself. And I learned that after 7 years, you can say, or 8. I went to school. I'm like, you know what, let me take this time and have a career. That way, if I don't find something that I like, I can do something with this, and I can move forward with that. And it's basically that you end up investing so much in someone else's dream and you forget about yours.
So you got to the point in life where you're like, it's time to invest in me.
Right. And it's also difficult with me having a child. I have to work and make money for the child.
Right.
Who's gonna support my child? If I'm going to school, I'm not making money. And this kept me from not going to school, but I discovered little ways where, hey, I can go to school and then maybe work a little bit of hours. And being that I live in housing, they can work with me and stuff. I'm just lucky to have the opportunity to live where I live, where it's rent controlled and stuff.
And I'm happy that you said that, because when you hear public housing, you don't really hear that narrative of, listen, I'm using this as a means to get where I want to go. And it's a positive story, and that's what it was for. That's what it was built for. Yeah, it was built for that. Yeah. So I'm happy that you're able to navigate your situation and make it work for you. Okay. So Lisa, I asked this question about hair to all of our guests, male and female. For me as a Black woman, my hair has been a big part of my life. And I see that you have some beautiful curly hair. But I want to know, have you ever felt that you needed to straighten your hair to get a job or anything? So tell us about that.
Growing up, I always felt my hair was ugly. It was curly. Everyone has straight hair. Because I went to school in Ridgewood where there was a lot of, white girls and Puerto Rican girls with straight hair. And I thought my hair was, for years, I thought my hair was ugly. I used to get my hair straightened out. I even wanted to perm my hair. My mom told me, if you perm your hair, your hair's gonna fall off. Your hair's too soft. And I'm like, okay. So I never permed my hair, but I remember getting this Chinese
like the keratin treatment.
Yeah, I did, and it kept my hair wavy for like a few months. And I began to embrace my curly hair actually within the past 2 years.
Like the rest of us. Like, shout out to the natural hair movement.
Yes, it's like I used to put on weave because I wanted long hair.
And I would get
and now I don't care. It's like, wow, I'm actually blessed to have this kind of hair. I can do anything to my hair.
And it's yours.
Right, and it doesn't look like dog hair, which I used to want. I used to want that.
You also wanted to be like super straight and just like up and down. Did you ever feel like if you didn't straighten your hair that you wouldn't get the job, or you wouldn't get the guy, or you wouldn't get whatever you wanted to get?
I used to feel that if I didn't have straight hair, I wouldn't get the guy. But the job I always got with the curly hair.
Okay.
So, but it's the guy, but I don't care about the guy anymore.
Right. Well, I was gonna say you did get a guy because now you got your son.
Yeah. And he loves my hair. He loves his mom.
So in raising a little 8-year-old boy who's gonna eventually grow to be a Black man in this society, how do you help him? What do you tell him to help his experience along the way?
A lot of things that happen. I make my son aware, like the Trayvon Martin case. It's like, it was so unfortunate that this child goes to the store to buy candy, and because he was wearing a hoodie, some guy felt he had the right to take his life. And I let my son know, he's Black. This land was taken from, because he's Indian also, this land was taken from your people. That he's strong, that he's the strongest person, his kind is the strongest, everything he knows. A lot of things that happen, I show him so that he can understand what's going on in the world and stuff.
How old is he again?
He's 8 years old.
How did he take to those conversations about Trayvon Martin?
He tells me that it's sad, it's unfortunate, and that sometimes he asks me things like, oh, are white people bad? And I tell him, no, white people aren't bad. It's just that there are a certain 1% of white population that believe they're above you, and they're not. You are superior and stuff. And it's just that, but he understands.
Good, because he's open to it too, because he likes to learn and know more.
He knows we've gotten stopped a few times by the cops, you know, and he understands everything. It's like when I was young, I was 3 years old, I remember, I used to know about boys and pissing and, you know, killing. He's 8 years old. He knows everything. Yeah, he is.
What do you plan to do in the future to ensure that as a young black man that he can become that urban professional that you imagine him to be?
Well, now, you know, I focus a lot of time on my son. You know, I take him to basketball, I let him know. I show him, you know, people that work for my mom or people that live on the street. I ask them, do you want to be like this? You know, if you don't do this, this is how you can end up, but you're not going to end up that way because you're going to do this. And, you know, I never tell my son that he isn't going to be anything. I remind him that you are going to be this, but, you know, if you do this, this is going to happen. And I take him, you got to teach your kids, you know, they can't be lazy. It's like, take him to his basketball practices every week.
Even when he don't want to go.
Yeah, when he doesn't want to go, I'm like, no, you have to. When he doesn't want to go to school, no, you have to go to school. If you don't go to school today, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. You're going to miss out on the event.
And now you're committing to school, so he sees that.
Right, and he understands, you know, it's like you got to teach them from now. You got to show them, hey, this can be the consequence. And do you want that? Oh, no, you know, he reminds himself, and I don't want to live that life. Let me do what I got to do. Right, yeah.
That's so great, and that's so cute. For kids to like realize it, like, you know what, let me get it together at 8.
And he does, you know, he does. He's a great boy.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
We love that. My heart is warm now.
Yeah, my heart is warm too.
My heart's warm too, and my heart's warm with this too.
And thank you again. You're gonna see us again.
Thank you so much.